Flatout Racing Network brings you the cNASCAR Chris Cup Series race tonight from the Rockingham Speedway in Rockingham, North Carolina. Tonight presented by Racing Nut. Oh, I knew I was going to screw it up, Sam. Crap.
SimNut Racing Sims.
SimNut Racing Sims. All right, we're off to a great start, folks.
Yeah, we are.
Friends. Hello, friends. Carlos Zimmerman here alongside me, Sam Dyer. You know, I'm a bit rusty. Haven't been in the booth in quite a while. Sam, you're with me tonight. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I mean, I'm excited. We're going into the second round of the playoffs, and playoffs is really small. It's only going to be 5 races. We're 2 races in. This is race number 3 to figure out who will be coming into the final 4. And this is kind of a change in playoff formats for these drivers. It's not a win and you get in. It's about consistency for this race and next week.
Yeah, small group tonight. About 12 drivers are in here tonight, but all of them, except with the exception of a couple, are in the running still for a championship, as I believe Christopher Takis was the one that laid down the quickest time. As there you go, SimNut Racing Sims. I apologize to those folks for botching that right off at the start. As bring it around here to them. Wow, what just an incredible day here at virtual Rockingham Speedway in Rockingham, North Carolina. Of course, in real life, not really used much anymore, but, always good to see it on the iRacing sim.
Yeah, I mean, the last time that we saw it here on the FRN broadcast, we were seeing 87 cars running here. So it's been a while since we've seen any stock cars running Rockingham, and I'm interested to see. It's 196 laps that they're going to be running here. Short track racing, the bumper most likely will be used today.
So Chris Takis, he has won the pole for this one as the starting grid will scroll on the bottom of your screen. Chris Tommy Gossett, he'll start to his outside in second. Row number 2, Chris Bass and Chris Jonathan Leach. Row number 3, Christopher Reese and Chris Otto. 7th and 8th, Chris Roberge and Chris Raul Mesa, respectively. Chris Clifford Corvo, he rolls off 9th. Christopher Lawrence in 10th. And then the remainder of the field, Chris James 11th. And I believe Chris Noblin. He will roll off 12th. That is your 12th car field here this evening from Rockingham. 196 laps, Sam. Quite a bit of an endurance race tonight. Is that going to be the case for these guys?
I would imagine it's going to be that for sure for most of these drivers. I think the driver that's most likely to be battling all night long is going to be Gossett and as well as Takis, just because of how fast we've seen them be running. But we also know Bass, top of the points at the moment, has a very good shot with a consistent day today to practically point his way into the next round.
So the pace car makes the hard left-hand turn into pit lane. We're ready for 196 laps here at Rockingham. Green flag in the air on Flatout Racing Network. The Chris Cup Series race number 3 of this playoffs is green, and Takis and Tommy Gossett break away early on with Bass in third.
And this is what we're expecting to see, a lot of really a one-lane track all day long. These drivers are going to be aiming to get down to that yellow line in the center of the corner, get back into the gas, and start moving forward. What's interesting is that turn 1 and 2 is slightly different than 3 and 4. 1 and 2 a little bit easier to be getting in than 3 and 4.
Chris Takis leads that first lap, opens up at about a 5/10 of a second lead now over the 43.
Car already spinning around. It's Mesa.
Caution out for the first time tonight, lap 2 of 196. It is the 37 of the D. Chris Ford of Chris Raul Mesa, and he's got a lot of front end damage and rear damage. They're getting into that one, that Toyota Camry, actually. Wow, a lot of rear damage as well.
Yeah, also heavy contact with the 7 that was made. Most of that run going to the 37 machine.
A little bit of a buckle on the left side of Chris Clifford Corvo. So already got a car around, and we're going to take a look at the replay here, see what brought out our first caution. Looks to be a 1 to 2 car wreck here, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, it was just the fact that 37 machine, Meza was just running a little bit too high, and then once he got into the gas, just because he was so high, it threw his machine up into the wall, and you hate to see that type of a contact this early in a race, but just means it's got to be getting that repair done, and most likely running in the back.
Yeah, really tough hit there as he took that line a bit high, and then, the way this track runs, it just sucks you up into the fence. And that's basically all that happened. So a tough break on the number 37. His day likely done after that one. Still should be able to race, but probably out of a contention for a win. I don't know, 13-car field, so stranger things have happened, but folks, that's why we're under caution number 1 of this one tonight at Rockingham. A few cars decided to come down and pit and top off the machines. Chris Roberts, Chris James, and Chris Noblet.
Yeah, Noblet coming in and actually getting a little bit more damage done than I was expecting to see for that 17. Maybe there was contact made between the 37 and 17. As after that damage was repaired, 17 car back underway. Also, Roberge and James both took only fuel when they came into the pits.
Something to watch out for. Possible strategy moves if we get in a long green flag run. Again, folks, this one brought to you tonight by SimNut Racing Sims. Sam, what do you got on our sponsor this evening?
Well, SimNut Racing Sims really is a place to get some great racing sim cockpits, monitor stands, and really rigs for you to have the best experience while on iRacing and any racing simulation. If you want to get more information from SimNut Racing, please go to their Facebook. Just type in SimNut Racing and Racing Sims, or go to www.sim/nut.com.
Great to have them on board in a series that we've been pretty much covering from the beginning, way back, all the way back at Daytona, and now we're into the final 3 races of this season. Rockingham tonight, Indianapolis next Saturday, and then the season finale at Phoenix, the Speedway at Phoenix, we'll call it. In this series, it's been a lot of fun to bring it to you guys, and we're still in for a lot of action tonight. I'm trying to look through the field here. The only ones I believe that are out of contention for a run at the playoffs is that second-place car, Chris Tommy Gossett, and the wrecked car of Chris Raul Mesa. I have been AWOL the last couple races, so there are a couple of other guys may have gotten the axe while I was away. I believe, I don't think Christopher Lawrence made it. What do you got on it?
Lawrence is running 7th right now in points. James is one of those drivers that's not in here that's running, as well as I believe Noblet is in 4th in points. But just a quick rundown on drivers that are in our top 8 for these next 2, for today's race and next week. You got Chris Bass, Chris Roberge, Christopher Reese, Chris Noblet, Chris Jones, Chris Otto, Christopher Lawrence, and Christopher Takis, your last driver in, but it's about based on points to see in these 2 races of today and next week on who's going to be in our top 4 for the final race at Phoenix.
So if Takis can go pole to win, that would be a big one. Him points-wise, that would allow him to get back into contention if he could repeat his success tonight at Indianapolis. He definitely could be set for a top 4 spot. A guy who's been really dominant pretty much throughout the regular season, battling with guys like Christopher Tate, who's no longer racing in this series. We'll document that more as we go along. Lap 7 about to go on the board. Green flag back in the air, 190 to go here this evening. Chris Takis got a good jump at Chris Tommy Gossett. He was ready for him.
Yeah, Gossett's been really on it these last couple of weeks since he's joined the Chris Cup, and it's been a blast to watch this 43 machine because he has been up front every single race, someone to watch out for. But honestly, I'm very impressed to see Takis leading the charge, holding off that 43 machine, and Bass right there just waiting for his chance to make a run up for these top 2.
3-car breakaway now at the front. You got to go back to 4th to find Chris Jonathan Leach in the Chris Array Chevy Camaro there. Good run for him. He's trying to keep himself just he's not running for a title. I believe he was knocked out in the first 2 races, so he's just out here trying to log laps and maybe be a spoiler, if you will, and getting a win this season. Winless so far this season, so it'd be interesting to see how the rest of his night plays out. He runs in 4th, about 2 seconds off the leaders. That is a really true 3-car breakaway of Takis, Tommy Gossett, and Bass. Just 3 dominant cars throughout the season.
Yeah, and I think there probably would have been a 4th car up here. Like I said, Tate no longer racing in the league, just due to schedule changes on his end, where he was no longer able to finish out the rest of the season. But a car that won our first playoff race of the season at Chicagoland, so it would have been interesting to see 4 machines right up front. But right now, it's just 3 cars pulling away.
Yeah, he was the odds-on favorite really throughout the year to be the champion, but you know, real life work always comes first, so he made a wise decision in that, at least in my eyes. So it's unfortunate we don't have him, a guy who's, like I said, been really dominant in this series, but hopefully we'll have him back for a second, the next season. Season 2, which is coming up very, very soon. We're really hoping that we're going to be back to bring it to you, one of our more popular series here at Flatout Racing Network, as Chris Takis, Chris Tomigas, and Chris Bass all within a second of each other. Trying to look further back through the field if any battling's happening, not so much. Chris Roberge sporting a different looking scheme tonight, a little bit of a red Chris scheme tonight in that 98. It's about a 3-car window here with Otto Reese in the middle, and then Roberge, and Lawrence is right there as well.
Yeah, those 4 machines all having a pretty good run in the middle of the pack, but Otto seems to just not feel comfortable as Reese gets under the 88 machine, pushing that machine up, and Otto needs to somehow get back into that lower line as he's going to lose more and more positions if he's stuck on the outside.
Chris James now is going to insert himself into this battle. Chris Jones lurking as well up on the high side. I was worried about the 88. He was really high on the exit at 2. And you saw what happened to Chris Raul Mesa, who has returned to the track 2 laps down. He got way too high up there, and he's still
he's
that
still
high
up
line.
there.
He overdrove it.
And here's the thing, Chris Otto really is at that point of the season where he needs to be running up in the top 5, if not top 3, if he wants the chance to make it into our final 4. That 88 machine has just been really consistent all season long, but Rockingham looking like a little bit too rough for the 88, as at the moment running back in 6th in points.
9th on the racetrack right now in that nation, Chris. Chevy Camari's got the league admin, Chris Jones, right behind him in the Chris Spice Ford, trying to make strides as well. Chris Jones, he's still in contention as well.
Yeah, Chris Jones 5th in points at the moment, trying to chase down Chris Noblet, and Noblet running 12th. So where they're running now, it would help Jones out to somehow make it into the final 4. I mean, another factor for these drivers to think about is based off the regular season and the changes to playoffs, the points actually double for these drivers. So if you're running up front like Christopher Takis, a win here today will rocket ship him from 8th all the way up to possibly 5th, maybe even 4th place by getting the bonus points of leading laps, the most laps, and getting a win. He's really looking for a full bonus day.
Pretty spread out now amongst everybody. Got to go a little back. Here's Chris Jones still trying to hound the 88 of Chris Otto. That would be another point for him, as he is 5th in the standings, which is he's just 1 spot out of a spot in the top 4. Of course, you still have Indy next week. So this will be very interesting to see if the league admin, who, in my opinion, he's been pretty quiet this season. He snuck his way, really sneakily, got his way into the playoffs, just having some consistency down the stretch in the season. So if he is able to keep it up, he is going to be a definite factor when it comes down to it at Phoenix, a short track.
Definitely someone to watch out for, at least for next week, because right now, Jones running 9th place. Driver that I'm watching that's trying to make a slowly charge forward. That's the 0-1 of Christopher Lawrence, as he's on the back bumper of Roberge. And these drivers have been close to one another almost all season long, the 98 and the 0-1.
Yeah, you look at him here now. The 98 took a little bit of a higher line there. The 01 got a better run through the middle of the corner. Now he'll dive to the inside. Try to get that run through 3 and 4 here. Will the 98 try to pinch him down? He did a little bit, but then swung wide, so that'll move the 01 almost to 6th. There he is. He clears him finally. And now move him up to 6th. Yeah, making a charge, Sam, and he's looking pretty good here through this first bit of a green flag run.
Yeah, looking great for the 01, but as that pass was going on, the 62 of Christopher Reese able to get by the 48 of Leach for 4th place.
That's another guy on a mission right now, as he's now going to be able to set his sights on the top 3. As looking at this, we have a new leader, Chris Tommy Gossett, in the 43, gets around the 46 of Christopher Takis. Again, folks, Chris Tommy Gossett not running for a championship. He joined the season late, but ever since he joined, originally in the 96 and now in the 43, he has been a star on the Chris Cup circuit, and he is proving it now as he's starting to drive away from the 46.
Yeah, if you look visually on the cars that have green splitters and spoilers, those are your playoff racers. So pretty easy to tell for most of these guys running out. But Christopher Takis is actually having equipment failures on his end. His computer seems to be having some issues. That's why he's actually lost a lot of time and not feeling comfortable on track. He's trying to do the best that he can, but it seems like there's some computer issues for that 46.
So that might be something to keep an eye on with that 46. Really, one of your championship contenders. Hopefully that'll fix out for him as this race progresses. As Christopher Reese, I'm looking back here again in fourth. He is starting to make some ground up on Chris Bass because the 97 kind of lost the, I wouldn't say draft because this is such a short racetrack, about a 1.1, just over a mile long. So he's, whoa, hang on, before I get to that point, Jonathan Leach got stepped out, and now Christopher Lawrence is going to try and set him up for a pass.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing is that the drivers we were starting to see early in this run, pushing it pretty hard, those tires are starting to step away. That's why we're seeing Bass drop back, and also Leach, the 48, get a little bit out of shape there. And this is kind of what we're used to seeing for the 48, is he'll have a great about 20 laps or so, and then the tires will just start to fade away, and he'll start to step out every once in a while.
Back to my point on the 62, starting to reel him in a bit, and because Bass, like I said, wasn't really losing so much draft, just like you said, Sam, the tire's starting to fall off. So that's why Reese is starting to reel him in quite a bit. He's within 5 seconds now, but he's got to keep an eye on the mirror because the 48, 01, and 29 are starting to creep up to him. They're all within a second of each other.
Yeah, and right now it looks like the 0-1 of Lawrence trying to figure out how to get by Leach, but Leach really not giving any type of an opening, and really starts to drift up in the center of the corner, and then you see Lawrence drift up himself on exit. So really the entry points are pretty similar for both drivers, but it's their middle and center that are different, and they're kind of counteracting one another as you're seeing these 01 drifting up, and here comes the 29 of James.
29 gets around the 01 now. James starting to creep his way through, probably saving a little bit of his stuff there through that little bit of an opening run. He was able to get around the 33, the 88, and the 98, and now the 01. So he has been the biggest mover since the restart.
Yeah, speaking of the 88 of Chris Otto, 88 machine drifting up even more and looking like we'll be losing that 9th position to Christopher Jones. And I gotta say, that 33 machine looking a lot better now and a little bit more comfortable. And just want to give a shout out to Christopher Jones and all the great schemes that we usually see week in and week out, and all the hard work that 33 machine has done throughout the season on getting these schemes ready for these drivers.
It's always just a great looking just group of schemes, like you said, week in and week out. It's just been incredible, so always a big thank you to Chris Jones for also allowing us to put it on for you here at Flatout Racing Network. Lap 31 on the board, 166 laps to go. Here this evening at the Rockingham Speedway, you won't miss a thing as we go side by side. You saw it all happen right there, folks. Caution happened second time tonight, right in front of the leaders. The 7 of Chris Corvo went around, and the 43 got into him. I thought the 46 was going to wreck it, but apparently he saved it. Wow.
Yeah, the 7 got it. I mean, everyone was starting to drift up and getting close to that outside wall, and contact was made just at the worst time possible. And both our front runners of Gossett probably got the worst of that, running directly into the 7, nowhere to go. And then also the 46 of Takis getting some damage himself. Both those machines right up front, and that damage, it's going to help there Chris Bass in third place if Bass could possibly get some tires to stay under himself. But those front two, heavy damage so far.
You'll see them here as they're heading through turns 1 and 2. They're coming through here as we'll try to give you a different angle. The 7 caught the fence, nowhere for the 43 to go. 46 did a good job of keeping it straight. Luckily, no one else got into the 7 as the leaders were trying to pass him to put him a lap down, and really that's all there was to it. We'll give you an onboard here with the 43. But my goodness, that could have been a lot worse than it actually was.
I mean, we were talking about it, and you even saw it, that Gossett was having issues with other lap machines, and that's just that's one of the things you have to worry about as the longer a run goes on. Yes, as a leader, you might be feeling pretty confident, but the potential of having an incident with a lap car is still always looming over these front runners.
Yeah, just I think he may have given more damage to the 7 than anything, but definitely some toe damage and front bumper damage on the 43. So something to document throughout the night. He had a really extended pit stop, as did the 46. So we're gonna have a new leader on the other side of the for the restart. But as we're working our second caution of the night, lap 38 of 196, giving us just over 150 laps to go.
It looks like, based on the cars and where they're running right now, it's going to be Chris Bass giving the lead, and then it's going to be the 29 of James following suit.
Yeah, move the 97, P1, P2 now. Chris James, then Christopher Reese, then Christopher Lawrence, and then the 48 of Chris Jonathan Leach, followed by Chris Otto, Chris Jones, Chris Roberge, Chris Tommy Gossett, then Chris Roberge, who's in the pits right now, and then Chris Nobley and Chris Takis. I believe Takis is returning, so Chris Takis will restart in 9th with Roberge in 10th. So, Sam, this is going to be a different-looking restart here. I know the 97's got speed. Let's see what the 29 has for him as everybody is back to equal. It's 4 fresh tires on everybody.
Yeah, 4 fresh ones, and here's something to look out for. These drivers are going to have 4 sets to work with all race long. So that's going to be the set that they started out with, and then 3 other tires for these drivers to use. So something to keep in the back of your mind of tires and who will have tires left at the end of this thing. I think Chris James is someone that really could do a good job up front as the later the run went on, the better that 29 was getting and the worse the 97 was getting.
Wow, just a bit. We had a nice little green flag run there going, so we have not been able yet to see the factor of green flag pit stops. It's going to take a much longer green flag run for that to happen with how short this track is and how fast the laps can wind down. But again, the 97, it's going to be very interesting how he manages this restart here, depending on which lane he decides to go with. I believe he would take the inside. I know at a lot of other tracks, mostly the cookie cutter tracks, you would take the outside because you can get that run through the first pair of corners. But this kind of track, you want the inside because it's definitely got a lot more grip compared to the outside line. And it's been shown tonight because both of our cautions have come with cars hitting the outside wall while coming off the corner out of the outside groove.
Yeah, it's hitting that outside wall, but also going through the corner, running pretty high, and then hitting the outside wall. So something to watch out for these drivers, but starting all the way in the back around 8th and 9th, that's where you're going to see Gossett and Takis. Can both of them come running up because they did have some damage to repair?
Again, probably only a little bit of front-end damage that the 43 had to repair. A lot more, I think, to the 46 because the 7 bounced off the right side, so there might still be a couple buckles there. On the right side of the 46, National Chris Chevy Camaro of Christopher Takis. We'll see how it goes. Top 5 again. Chris Bass, he's elected the inside line with Chris James to his outside. And a pair of other fast cars in Christopher Reese and Christopher Lawrence right behind them. And then the 48 of Chris Jonathan Leach with Chris Otto to his outside. That's your first 3 rows. We'll go back green at lap 42 of 196, giving us 155 laps to go. Still a lot more racing to happen here tonight at the Rockingham Speedway in Rockingham, North Carolina. We're glad to bring it to you this race tonight here on Flatout Racing Network. Again, my name's Carlos Zimmerman. Alongside me, Sam Dyer. Buckle in for some more action as the pace car will make the hard left-hand turn, and we will go green once again as here at the restart, Chris Bass getting a nice jump as the 88 did not further back.
Yeah, that inside line did not take off at all. It was mainly the outside line that really saw that restart by Bass, and now trying to follow suit. Bass already out to almost a second gap lead on second place. A huge restart for the 97 machine, and now it's all about can Gossett get through as he's already up to 6th place.
Tommy Gossett now has his eyes set on the 48 of Chris Jonathan Leach, who gave a shot to Christopher Lawrence into the corner, and that really screwed up his entry. So Gossett's going to take advantage and moved up to 5th. Now you got to think, is there damage on the 01?
Well, here's the thing. That 43 machine, ever since, if he ever gets contacted, here comes Takis now, right on his back bumper. And if anyone makes contact with him and he has to drop back, he drives extremely angry, trying to get back up front. So I'm expecting to see the 43 machine use that bumper to move a lot of drivers out of the way. But here comes Takis, really waiting to make a move, as it looks like even though the 43 and the 46 got damaged, they're still very quick out here.
The 01 trying to take every bit of line away from the 43, so if the 43 is going to make a move, it's going to be on the straightaways. Not going to make that pass in the corner because the 01 is taking that solid yellow line away from Chris Tommy Gossett. And Takis, he would love to pounce on an opportunity like that. And I think Gossett is noticing that as well, but...
Oh no, something went wrong with that, because he has already dropped back like a rock and has already lost 1st place to James.
Now Christopher Reese is going to set his sights on him. Not sure. We were watching further back as Gossett's going to make the pass on the 01. Really not sure what happened to the 97. Sam, if you want to go back and take a look, I don't know if he got the fence or something, but we got a new leader in the 29.
Yeah, I mean, he was running pretty slow for a bit there. He got the lead, just took off like a rocket ship, and then it looked like maybe he got out of sync or his tires dropped off that quick. But then he just started running a little bit higher than everyone else, and James easily stole the lead away from the 97.
As there goes the 43 by the 62, and I think Christopher Lawrence is going to try and follow suit around the 62. So move him to 4th, but man, he's got a deck lid full of the 46 of Christopher Takis. Takis trying to pick a line to go with. That's really tight. Contact between the 46 and the 01.
They're racing hard back here, and you know that Lawrence is in the 01 is trying to bend the best that he can. And Takis, he's just trying to stay with the 43 of Gossett, but it's just not working the way he wants. But also update for a car in 6th place, Chris Leach, able to find some speed as now he's up to 6th place. But a car that's already up to 2nd, that's Tommy Gossett.
He'll now have about a second gap to work with now to catch Chris James in it. And he'll definitely be able to do that. Lap 50 coming up next. Still a lot of racing to go here tonight from the Rock. As Chris Bass, he has slid back to 3rd after leading on the restart. Christopher Lawrence has settled into 4th with Chris Takis, though, all over his back bumper. Going to make a pass here very soon.
Takis must be so frustrated because Lawrence is doing everything that you're supposed to be doing, defending the inside, not allowing anyone to get under you. And if you have to drift up a little bit, just don't give enough space for the car behind you to get under you. And man, Lawrence is doing a great job just defending that spot, but at the same time, Takis is frustrated.
And Takis has to be careful because the 48 is right to his back bumper, so you can put a blanket here over 3rd through 6th. As to who's going to try and make a move. Takis tried there, but I think dove it in a little too hard and ran out of racetrack to try and pass him. So now the 01 is going to be able to set his sights here on the 97 to see who's going to move up to 3rd. Meanwhile, at the front, here's Tommy Gossett. He's got the lead down to 8/10, but at a much slower pace than I had anticipated.
Yeah, a little bit slower than we were expecting, that's for sure. I mean, he's only been able to catch about 3/10 so far in the car front. So a little odd to see, as most of this racing action is for that battle for third place. But other passes that are going on, that battle for ninth, you've got Chris Otto, the 88, still trying to fend from Christopher Jones, who is really, Jones is trying everything he can to gain that position, and it would help so much for the points race.
Yeah, Jones has pretty much thrown everything but the kitchen sink at the 88 and hasn't really been able to make up much. He's been around 9th and 10th pretty much all night long, and that's where he has stayed. As you know, I may have spoke too soon on the 43. He has cut that lead to 4/10.
Cut it down to 4/10, and you know, it's been 3/10 now, 4/10. He's really coming. You know, the main issue could be the fact that we're starting to see the 29 car coming up to lap traffic. That dirty air can really just untemper a car, and we're starting to see the 29 get by the 17 of Chris Noblet and putting the 17 car one lap down.
Noblet, another guy racing for a title, that trying to stay in contention, but that early trouble has really hindered him since. So he'll be a lap down, first one lap down in 11th place. And with that happening, that's given Chris James a little bit more breathing room now as the gap reopens to about 3/4 of a second, but that will quickly go away as the laps keep ticking.
And Tack is finally able to get by the 0-1 of Lawrence as they're coming up to Noblet here, and now the 46 can put his eyes onto the 97. The only problem is that Tack has spent so much time trying to get by the 01 and the 97 that he is now about 3.5 seconds back from our leader of Chris James.
They're now passing the lap car, of Chris Noblet, who got the fence. Whoa, that could have been disastrous. And that really messed up the 01. Definitely not going to be happy with the 17 as the Lawrence machine was in 5th. Now he's back to 7th.
You know, a little bit of deja vu on how we saw our leaders bring out our most recent caution when they ran into the 7 machine. So that is something to watch out for when these faster machines come up to the slower lap cars. When they come out of the corner, that closing rate is so dramatic compared to what we've been seeing at other courses.
Running on board with the 01 of Christopher Lawrence, definitely probably hot under the collar after that one, trying to now hold off the 98 of Chris Roberge, and is doing it so for the time being, now trying to rally and get up to the 62, but definitely not what he wanted to have happen. As meanwhile at the front, as we approach lap 60, Chris Tommy Gossett's cut the gap to 0.2 of a second. He is going to be looking to set up the 29 for a pass here momentarily.
Yeah, he's really set it up perfectly right now as he's been just slowly chipping away, and you're starting to see that. I thought maybe the 29 car had the better long run setup, but I mean the 43 of Chris Tommy Gossett, he was so good before he got the damage. Even with damage, that 43 machine is still quick.
Gap now inside 0.2, about 1/10.5. Now on the 29 as you're going to keep it on we're going to keep it here on this battle. Meanwhile, further back, Chris Roberge has gotten around the 01, but now got a battle for the lead. 29 still maintaining though, but the 43 is there.
Yeah, Gossett's not going to be afraid to use the bumper if necessary, and here comes the 43, able to hold that inside line just a little bit better, but holding strong the 29 with that momentum coming out of the corner.
They battle for the lead. Chris Bass and Chris Takis, they're battling as well. But now the 43 has been able to move the 29 up, and he will clear him as they head down the back straight away and move the 43 of Chris Tommy Gossett back to the lead, but also move the 46 of Christopher Takis back to third, who has got the gap down to about 1.5 seconds to our 2 leaders.
Yeah, kind of put the pressure on the 97, and Bass just drove a little bit too high. Almost dumped it into the outside wall coming out of 2, and that's why he's lost over 0.5 seconds since he's been passed by Takis.
134 laps to go still here this evening. A little bit of a rundown so far. 2 cautions so far tonight, both by lap cars hitting the outside wall, and then just getting into trouble and bouncing off of other drivers. The most recent one happened to 2 of our leaders, our now new leader in Chris Tommy Gossett, and also happening to Chris Johnson.
No,
There's the yellow. It's the 48.
It's Leach.
I started to see him fall through my on my leaderboard screen, and I knew something wasn't right, and it is big-time trouble for the 48 of Chris Jonathan Leach. Again, not competing for a championship, but definitely had a good car.
Yeah, contact made with a car battling for the championship, as that was with Lawrence, and Lawrence came on the radio immediately, said, I'm sorry, I didn't think you were going to be there, as contact between the 48 and the 01 entering turn number 1.
See him here as they head down the back straightaway. Christopher Reese was making a pass on the 48, so the 48, ooh, man, he kind of bullied his way to that pass there, but the 01 then got to the inside, slammed the door on him, and then the crossover by the 48 set him up for a further pass. The 01, yeah, just came down and, man.
And it was an aggressive move by the 48 machine, and it wasn't completely clear, and they were both looking for the same real estate, and that time it was not free for the 48, costing him greatly, possibly his race.
Should be a lot of front end damage because he hit that wall and it just spun him around like a top. Right on board with the 01 to give you his perspective of what happened with the 48 of Chris Leach, as started back here on the back straightaway as the 62 was making the pass. 01 got a really good run because the 62 pushed the 48 back up the track. But then you'll see the 48, he'll swing back to the inside, making that crossover move on the 01. And then watch him, I guess, I don't know if that could have been potential net code or anything, or the 01 just thought he was clear of the 48 thought he was clear and he came up, but the 01 really couldn't do much. But he apologizes for it, and that's why we're working our third caution of the evening here at Rockingham.
Well, our top 4 are going to be staying out, which is going to be Gossett, Takis, Bass, and Otto. Shocking to see. Now, from 5th place, Chris James did come into the pits, but only decided to go with fuel only, as 6th on back of drivers that came into the pits. They decided to go with 4 tires. Take that back. Looks like the 17 of Noblet actually has stayed out and will be taking, I believe, got our lucky dog of the race.
Yes, he did get the lucky dog, so he'll be able to restart more than likely 10th tail end of the field, and you'll see the restart on the other side of this break. As we go side by side, you're watching the Flatout Racing Network's coverage of the cNASCAR Chris Cup Series, race number 3 of the playoffs from Rockingham, presented by SimNut Racing Sims. Getting ready for the restart here. Lap 69 on the board right now. Lap 70 will be the lap when we go back green. It'll give us about 127 laps to go. Top 5, Chris Tommy Gossett and Christopher Takis. Their row 1, row 2 is Chris James and Chris Bass, and then Chris Jones and Chris Reese. They're in that third row. Nice to see the 33 up there. After his most recent stop, as we're go green here, 127 to go, still a lot of action as we approach the halfway point. Here we go, the 43 and the 46. They were leading up front earlier on. We get to see them again. Let's see how this restart pans out as 1, 2, and 4th did not pit. Or 1, 2, and 4
Yeah, our top 4 hit. I mean, our top 4 have old tires. It's something to watch out for, as everyone from 5th on back do have fresher tires. We did see the 29 pit just for fuel. Our top 3 decided just to stay out. So making some old strategy moves to see if we go green for the rest of the way and possibly see a green flag pit stop. But for now, we'll see if anyone in the back really can make any charge forward, as the machine I've got my eyes on has to be the 62 with 2 tires. See how well that does. Car that took 4 tires, though, is only going to be the 33 machine back in 9th, and that's going to be Christopher Jones.
He did not have a good restart at all, as he's now going to get relegated back to another battle with the 88. Seems to have a little bit of a rivalry brewing here tonight at the Rock between them. Now he's set his sights on the 01 of Christopher Lawrence. Meantime, it's really been another 3-car breakaway as the 43, 46, and the 97 pull away from the 29. As you look at the 62 there, like you said, took 2 tires under that restart, or under that pit cycle. So we'll see how fast that'll last, as the 98's trying to creep into that battle, but the battle will be now for 4th as the 62 clears the 29.
Yeah, as our front 3 all in line trying to pull away. But that battle that was, I mean, Reese now up. It's 29 car drifting even higher and higher up. Out of sequence, and those tires must not be happy at the moment.
Yeah, definitely not looking good right now. Again, he did pit, but only took fuel. So those tires are old, and it is showing now, because he is now fallen back to 8th and is now in danger of losing that spot to Chris Otto, who runs 9th.
Yeah, I've really got my eyes now on the 33 of Christopher Jones. That 33 machine is coming with a head of steam. With those fresher tires, it is a massive advantage at the moment, running almost a 10th at times faster than cars in front of him.
Not running as quick as the leaders, but running just quick enough as he is going to try and get 2 birds with 1 stone here. Gets around the 98, couldn't get to the 62. Whoa, he took a bold move to try. I guess he just carried too much speed into that corner, as the 88 gets the fence as well, and that is going to cost the 33 dearly, as he tried to make a bold move, but it didn't pay off.
Well, I mean, Jones had to make that move, or he would have absolutely clobbered the 62 of Reese. So it was more so for the betterment for the drivers he was around than it was for him, as now we're seeing Roberge getting by the 62. And, you know, some laps it looks like tires are important to see. Other laps, it's more of how much speed are you carrying.
Roberge now settles into 4th, a guy who he had been pretty solid through the regular season. I don't believe he picked up a win, but he may have to go back and look at it. But he has been slowly and quietly working his way through this pack right now, and I'm sure it's the tires that are helping him. Actually, I think he took fuel under that last stop only, so that's interesting. But the 98 now settles into 4th.
Only took fuel, and that's where we're at the moment for the 98 machine of Roberge. As it's looking like the 33 of Jones thought about making the pass on the 62, but thought otherwise.
But back on Roberge for a second. He is starting to reel in here the 97 of Chris Bass, because one thing I've noticed about Bass so far, as the sun starts to peek back out again here in 3 and 4, he has been really good on restarts, but does not have the speed to keep up with the 2 leaders, the 43 and the 46.
These drivers are now kind of scattering around. It's going to be hard for them to try to keep up. I mean, our top 3 have just been leaps and bounds, but Bass, it just seems like after he's about 5 to 6 laps into a run, that 97 machine it falls off. I don't know what is different between their first 5 laps the rest of the race, but Bass is just struggling.
Because as it looks like the entire track now is going to be back under the sunlight. We were under shadows of clouds there for a little bit, but now the track is going to start heating up again, which means cars could start getting real slippery as the run goes on.
Slickness is something to watch out for, as they're going to continue to at least try to stay as clean as possible around one another.
You say that lightly. The really big battle on the track right now is from 6th on back to 8th, or with a lap car in between them, in the 7 of Chris Clifford Corvo. The 62, those two tires starting to maybe show its colors a bit as he is starting to lose a bit of speed.
Yeah, I mean, the two-tire strategy is really good for the first about 10 laps of a run. And then after that, your tires are just going to start equaling out. And the 62 just does not look happy when it coming into these corners. Looks like it might be holding the brake, locking up every once in a while because it's just shifting like constantly, and not happy for that 62.
Thought the 88 for a second was going to get into him there. Also thought the 01 when making a pass may have made some contact, but he didn't. As they continue to all truck along. Chris James trying to settle into 9th right now. Chris Knoplet, he's the last car on the lead lap, way off the pace in the 10th spot. And really the guy who we thought could have had a shot at the win tonight if something happened to our top 3, Chris Jonathan Leach, his day effectively done. 1 lap down and just a lot of damage on that 48 after being the reason for our last caution. So a tough break for the 48 despite not running in the playoffs.
Yeah, Leach just trying to get the momentum to finish off this race. The 88 of all tried to use his bumper to move the 62, and it backfired for that 88 machine.
He now falls back to the 9th spot with the 29 and the 62 maybe starting to brew a battle as well. But the 88 bounces back a little bit. They're good run through the last 2 corners. So definitely didn't kill him too much, so he'll be able to get back into the fight here with the 62. And the 29, I'm looking further up, Chris Jones has settled into the top 5 as he is about a second and a half behind the 98 of Chris Roberge. And he could make it up because that 98 continues to hound the 97.
Yeah, continues is the right word to use. I mean, staying within 2/10 for most of this last 5 laps or so. And I got to give credit to Roberge, who, like we have stated, only took gas on that last restart, still in the same tire freshness, you could say, as the 97, and they're continuing to battle on and on to see who's going to be in 3rd place. As a car I thought was going to be closer with these guys, is 33 of Christopher Jones, came in, got 4 tires, and has really not been able to close up this gap too much, but he's trying his best.
He's got it down to about a second now, or almost inside a full second to the 98 of Chris Roberge. But the thing is, he may have used this stuff up, trying to work his way around the guys like the 62, the 29, and the 01, because they just, sorry, having a little bit of technical difficulties on my side.
They're just continuing to battle back and forth and trying their best, still keeping it within 2 to 3 tenths. And looking back at Jones, he's keeping it within a little bit less than a second in that 33. So looking at the lap times that are being placed by the drivers in front of Jones, running about a tenth to about a half a tenth faster than them in front of him, is Leash now going to actually slow up and woe up the cars in front of him. And that's another thing to keep in count. Lap cars soon to be a factor for our front runners, and we'll see how much it will start affecting them. As we saw last time our leaders got close to the lap machines, it brought out a caution.
Still a little bit of time for the 43 to catch the 17 and the 37. That will be the first 2 lap cars he deals with. Also want to point something else out to Sam. Chris Takis has really lost the 43, so he's starting to fall back into the clutches of our 3rd, 4th, and 5th place guys. So it's going to be quite a battle here in a minute.
Yeah, about 2 laps. Spot. Yeah, 2 laps ago, I heard over the radio Takis saying, "Oh, it's getting slippery out here." So the track temp raising, as well as being on older tires, not helping that 46 machine at the moment.
This green flag run continues. I'm looking at the telemetry. The 43, 46, and 97, they're all on the same stint, as they're about 54 laps into this run for them despite the last caution. So it's only a matter of time before these guys have to come in and pit.
Yeah, they've really got to be thinking, okay, we're getting closer and closer to the halfway marker. About 100 laps to go soon. We gotta really bite our teeth that we can make it here to that middle marker, and they really should be able to. They pitted about 55 to 54 laps ago for most of these drivers that are on the older tires, and fuel run for our top 3. So everyone else feeling pretty good to make it to the halfway marker. I think Jones, though, he's only about 6 seconds away from our leader, but being off sequence could help out that 33 machine to possibly be even closer up front once pit stops are underway.
I think the scenario for the 33 is going to be this, and other guys like him, the 29 and the 01. The leaders pit, the top 4, the top 4, they pit. A caution is out, and there goes my scenario altogether.
You know, strategies are always cool to talk about, but you know once you talk about them, somebody's going to bring out a caution. It's looking like it's the 62 of Reese having the issues and spinning it out, getting loose out of 4. Might have gotten contact. Actually, that was out of 2 that I saw. The 62 got loose out of 2 and just never could catch it. Hitting the inside wall actually quite hard for Reese.
Got the 88 right behind him. Checked up through the entry of turn number 1 here as they head to the backstretch. Got loose there, and he just snapped on him, and boom, catches that, not even a wall section, a guardrail section here on the back straightaway, entering turn number 3. So that could even cause more damage for the 62 because it definitely hits different when you're hitting a wall instead of a guardrail instead of a wall. So might be more damage than we may realize here on the 62. A tough break because he was running pretty good, but I think, Sam, that really comes down to him taking 2 tires under our last yellow.
Yeah, and he was over the radio about 15, 20 laps ago saying, hey, my front right is gone. So was not surprised once that car got loose. There practically was no way of saving that 62 machine.
But everybody is down in the pits under this 4th caution. Chris Tommy Gossett's going to slide into his stall here. Did he nail it? Yes, he did. Looks like Takis nailed it as well. So our top 3 did a good job with pit entry. Let's see how they do on exit. Expecting 4 fresh Goodyears here for everybody. Takis might be a little bit quicker here. No, the 43 was quicker as he'll win the race off.
And that's just the advantage of coming in before the car behind you. And that's going to give the 43 of Gossett the lead there after pit road and all the battling that went down.
Way they came off. The 46 came out 2nd. Chris Bass 3rd. Chris James, he came off 4th. A good one for him. Chris Jones came down again. He got 4 fresh Goodyears, so he might be looking to sit pretty here. I know he had a horrible, wow, that was really bad. A horrible restart under the last caution, so we'll try to rebound there. Chris Robert 6th. Christopher Lawrence 2nd. Chris Otto 8th. Chris Noblet, he gets the free pass. He will be 9th. And then top 10 is going to be rounded out by Chris Jonathan Leach, who is our first car 1 lap down.
And Leach getting the lucky dog position for that 48 machine. So we'll be back on the lead lap. I believe I might have been wrong there with that call.
I think the 17 got it.
And
might be wrong as well. We're about to find out.
No, I believe you're right as well. I believe it is the 17 of Chris Noblet. Should be getting the lucky dog, putting himself now the 9th car on the lead lap. Small field we're working with here. 13 machines started off the race, and they're all out there running still. But Reese under pit road still getting damage repaired.
Again, folks, people not contending for a title tonight would be Chris Jonathan Leach, Chris Raul Mesa, Chris Tommy Gossett, your leader. And then I'm looking through here. I believe the 7 is no longer in contention as well. He did start in the playoffs, but did not make it through the first 2 races of Chicagoland and Homestead. By the way, I do want to give a shout out to Logan Brakey and and Seth Cole as well. I believe a couple other as well, filling in for me while I was out the last couple weeks for Chris Cup, just taking a little bit of a leave of absence, trying to just get set for school and get prepared again. But now I'm back in a good solid spot to be able to mix school and racing broadcast as well, so I'm glad to be back. here at FRN. It's always a lot of fun to work with you, Sam, and everyone else here at FRN. So I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, Carlos. I mean, it's been fun being able to broadcast this Chris Cup, guys, but it's been weird not having you in the booth. It's after hearing you most of the season, so it is always great to have you back in the booth.
All right, Sam, we're at the halfway point now. Lap 98 of 196. That's about 99, 98 laps to go when they hit the line here. Got to start thinking about what the strategy is going to be for the 43 and the 46 and even the 97 as this race progresses.
I would say as long as lap cars don't change anything or make any contact with our leaders, I would say that Chris Tomagosset's kind of got this thing in the back of his pocket. This race has pretty much been the 43s ever since he got the lead. Now, Takis has shown that he's got pace to stay with the 43, but does he have the pace to make the pass back after getting the pole at the start of the race? I don't think he does. And looking for third place of Bass. Bass looks like he's quick enough to stick and stay with third as long as he doesn't make any mistakes that he's been continuously doing all race long.
We're going to see what happens. The 43 is first, the 46 attack is second, then it's Chris Bass, then Chris James, and then the 33 of Chris Jones. The top five that'll get us back going here. Everyone's still in this race. A couple cars in pits getting repairs, but we'll see how the rest of this race progresses. 9 cars on the lead lap, and that is going to be the guys in contention to compete for a win here tonight. Remember, folks, it's not a win-and-get-in situation, but points definitely a major factor. Green flag back in the air. Lap 100 on the board now. 97 laps to go as the 43 and the 46 get away once again.
They get away once again, but it's that battle for fourth place that was looking a little nerve-wracking for a moment. Now it's the battle for third, where Bass has James right on his back bumper, keeping it within 0.3, sometimes even closer than that. Other battles, I mean, everyone else staying within less than 0.5 of one another as our leaders are closing closer and closer up.
97 getting some good runs there. Everyone on 4 fresh tires. Everyone came down and got maybe except the exception of Chris Roberts. I think he took 2 based on the telemetry I'm reading here, but otherwise everyone else is on 4 fresh tires to run this run here. As the the 46 caught the apron there a little bit. Don't know if that slowed him down or not, but he is still hanging with the 43 of Chris Gossett.
You thought maybe it would have, at least if he caught the apron, would have shot him up higher than he wanted to be and lose time that way, but able to keep sticking it. Now less than 0.2. That 46 machine, we talked about that he has the pace to stay with the 43 of Gossett, but does Takis have enough to make it by the 43? I think he's going to have to use his bumper if he gets close enough.
He's there to the back bumper. I think he tried to use the bumper there, but couldn't quite do it. Let's see what he does here through 3 and 4. The 46 trying to set up that 43 STP Chris car to make a pass, but the 43 of Gossett maintains as they hit the stripe.
Not able to do it, and that's just the one thing about the Rock is the fact that this is a 1-lane track. You want to be close to that yellow line, and you're going to have to be moved if you're continuously running that line like we're seeing Gossett run.
46 got a good run there through the middle of the corner, so he'll be there at the back bumper of the 43. Tried to swing it to the inside, got a little loose on the front stretch, so couldn't set up the pass. Now he's got to try and make up that little bit of ground again as it's half a car length between them to try and make a pass on the 43. Meantime, behind them, it is nowhere to be found is Chris Bass. He's a full second back. It's the 43 and the 46 for right now.
Yeah, you got the 43 and the 46 battling for the lead, and then he also got a battle going on for fourth place for Chris James as well as Lawrence, now all within a 0.3. But up front, Takis still hounding at the 43, but hasn't been close enough to really utilize that bumper, just slightly, maybe a couple of feet short.
Now the 43 opens up a little bit, swung up a little bit higher. Takis ran a little bit of a half a line lower. That time, last time by he ran half a groove higher, which stunned me to try and find any sort of grip here. But now the 43 going to open that gap now to a car length.
I mean, that's the issue. When someone else in front of you was running the line you want to run and you're catching them, you have to run a different line to try to make the pass, and sometimes it's not possible. And usually you look at other tracks where maybe you can try to use a slide job, but with Rockingham being such a small course, only a mile of length, and really the backstretch and the front stretch aren't long enough for you to utilize the draft or any momentum. You kind of have to just throw it into these corners and hope that maybe you bump them out of the way, or maybe you can somehow get under them.
Lap 109 now goes on the board. 88 laps to go here tonight from Rockingham, North Carolina. Do want to report, it looks like the 62 of Christopher Reese and the 48 of Chris Leach, they have put their cars in pit lane trying to repair damage, but it looks like their nights have pretty much come to an end. They'll more than likely finish 13th and 12th. 12th for Leach, 13th for Reese. A tough break for both of those drivers. Reese, a playoff driver, so that is definitely going to take a big hit for him. And he more than likely will be 8th in points in the running whenever we head to Indianapolis next week.
Yeah, right now not looking good for Reese, who is 3rd in points at the moment. Not counting this race when we first came in, and with the fact that Reese is running all the way back in 13th place, luckily points will be doubled, so it might help him out. But these drivers that are up front, like Takis, as well as Lawrence, all looking for great days as they're all up at the top 5.
Starting to look here at the weather as well. The looks like the backstretch in turn 3 are the only parts of the track that are lit by sun at the moment. Everything else on the racetrack, from the exit of 4 all the way down into turn 2, it is all under shadow. So that's going to be something to watch as well, because the track might cool for a little bit here and allow for more grip.
Yeah, and as we're past the 100 lap marker, I want to give a quick shout out to SimNut Racing Sims. They give us they came on board for today's race and for the future. And SimNut's Racing Sims, they give you some of the most high quality of sim racing cockpits, monitor stands, rigs, and any customizable fit for you to have the best racing experience you can. If you want to get more information from them, go on Facebook and look up SimNut's Racing Sims, or you can go to their website of www.sim-nut.com.
Great to have them on board with us. Again, want to apologize for botching their name at the start of the broadcast tonight, but I'm sure they'll forgive me for that. As we're back here at the front, 83 laps to go. I noticed for a minute that Chris Takis was keeping up with the 43, but now starting to lose a little bit of ground as the gap is at just about 3/10.
Yeah, it was within 2/10 for the longest time there, but when you're running that hard on someone's back bumper and you're trying to get close enough to utilize the bumper, it's a tall toll on your tires, and the regression that you're about to get and the way that your tires are about to fade off, it's going to be a harsh drop off. But at least Takis, he should be all right to continue to try to battle here for the next 10 laps. But once we get 40 laps on these tires, which will happen in the next 20 laps, I'm nervous for this 46 machine, because it just looks like Gossett's been feeling comfortable as we're coming up to lap traffic to 17 of Noblet in front of him.
Yeah, I was going to document that as well. I was going to go back and check other drivers, but I want to watch here how they navigate around the 17. They're going to maybe luckily catch him on the front stretch, maybe not. They may get him on the back, as actually the 17, he'll get out of the way of our 2 leaders, and he'll let them race on, as the 17 does let them go by. And it's a little bit more clean racetrack till you get to the 37 of Chris Raul Mesa.
Yeah, and the main thing for these drivers is they have to make sure that they stay clean and they can get by the lap car before coming out of turn 2. That's where the danger spot has been all race long, and you got to make sure these drivers stay clean, comfortable, and they don't make any type of mistakes. Battling that's going on track, Chris Otto in 7th place in the 88 machine has a full bumper of Chris Roberge in the 98.
Ooh, 33 didn't really get off the corner very well there, as he was trying to start and run down the 01 of Christopher Lawrence. Not a little bit of an underwhelming run for Chris Jones. He restarted 5th and only fell back 1 spot, but not showing the speed under this run that he did a run ago.
Well, that run ago, he had the advantage over everyone who was on about 30 to 40 lap older tires compared to the fresh ones that Jones had. So that's the major difference for the 33 machine, but still a 6th place finish. Not a bad spot for the 33 machine, who's running in the middle of the pack for points. And at the moment, Jones coming into this race 5th in points. So with Reese having an off day, it's really setting Jones up to really put himself into the top 4, coming into the final race before our coming into our final race of round 2, which we'll figure out who our final 4 will be.
43 starting to catch the 37 of Chris Raul Mesa. Do want to point out Christopher Reese has returned to the racetrack, and he's 21 laps down, but has gotten by the 48 on our leaderboard. So that's another spot for him and more points for him. So he's just out there trying to...
Oh, Navla hits the wall again and almost collects 3 cars. And there goes Chris Jones as well as Roberge.
Caution has not even come out yet for that one. The 33 was sideways on the racetrack. I'm stunned we're not under yellow right now, as we're still green.
98 has no hood. 33 absolutely demolished. No rear end. An awful day that was looking like a potential chance to set the 33 of Jones up for the final 4. The consistency we've been talking about thrown out the window in just one fell swoop, and it was a lap machine of Noblet. That really was the catalyst of that one.
The lap traffic trouble strikes again, and it is a horrible break for the 33 of Chris Jones. He'll bring it into the stall, and that's effectively going to end his day. The 98 of Robert still out on the racing surface with no hood in 7th place, last car on the lead lap. Wow, that changed things rather quickly.
Yeah, instantly we went from a 4-5 car battle for 6th place, for 5th place, to now it's just a 2-car battle between Otto and Lawrence. These drivers now have understood, hey, we got to be respectful here and not try to take each other out, as Lawrence easily gives that position to Otto. Other positioning that's going on, it looks like the next closest battle would be for 3rd, or James is slowly catching up to the 97 of Bass.
Chris Jones has returned to the racetrack, 2 laps down rather quickly, I might add. Just trying to log laps, I guess, at this point. He'll, as Chris Noblet, he just now goes a 2nd lap down. I'm going to watch for him here. I know these guys have been very good about not letting their emotions translate to the racetrack, but I want to keep an eye on both the 17 and the 33 as this race progresses.
Yeah, I mean, it all started out with the 17 of Noblet, same spot that we've been seeing all race long, where getting into the outside wall of turn 2 and it made contact with the wall, came back into the racing line, and there were 4 machines all trying to scatter around him, and contact between the 33 and 98 that took out both of those drivers, and really a rough day for both. Roberge in the 98, though, he's continuing to run because he's nervous that he will lose a position to either the 17 or the 33. So Roberge looking like he wants to stay out there to help himself out with points, as points-wise, that 98 machine 2nd. And if he has a good day today, finishing in the top 5, should automatically point his way into the final 4.
He's currently, though, in the pits right now, and the 33 and 17 just passed him. So he'll fall back to 9th, if not 10th, while he sits in pit lane trying to repair the damage. So a tough break for the 98 Ford Mustang of Chris Roberge. An unfortunate, had a really good run going today, and then just lap traffic ends up doing him over there, as he's got the hood back on the car, a replacement one, and he will return to the racetrack.
And it's good to see the 98 machine can get back out onto the racetrack, and it was pretty quick and smooth transition. I mean, it's 41.3 seconds in the pits, a very long stop, but still, at least your race isn't completely over and you don't have to sit the rest of the race out. As I'm watching this battle for 3rd, it's getting closer and closer. James in the 29 is coming to the back bumper of Bass.
Bass, he's been really settled into that 3rd spot ever since the restart, well over 30 laps ago. So he was sitting pretty for a little while, but now he's going to maybe get a challenge here from Chris James. Chris James, a little bit on and off this season, started the season at Daytona, but then towards the middle portion of the season, kind of dropped off and didn't appear in many races, hence why he isn't running for a title. But he has shown speed every race he's been in this year, as he gets a really good run there on corner exit and could set up the 97 for a pass on next time by.
And really is trying to stay as close to the 97 as possible. Maybe force the 97 of Bass to make a mistake. We've seen him drift up multiple times. Just add a little bit of pressure. Bass might make a mistake here or just gift the position as the 97 drifts up high. That's what he's looking for the 92, 90 to 29. And will be taking third place position is Chris James.
Another guy, a potential spoiler, if you will, amongst other ones like Tommy Gossett, the leader right now. And earlier on, Jonathan Leach. So one of our 3 or so spoilers in this race today. Running up in third now, so a good run for the 29. Something to watch, though, for the remainder of this race if he's going to be a factor for the top 2. Meanwhile, about the top 2, Chris Takis, he's only a second and a half off the race leader because the race leader has had to contend with some lap traffic.
Oh, and it's getting even worse for our leader as Jones is going to be trying to get out of the way. Does so. Reese has been the lap car that has been just in front of Gossett. That could be potentially slowing him down here and giving the chance for Takis to slowly start chipping away and get back into this lead battle. But Reese has just been slowing this 43 car down just a little bit here.
And folks, I know it doesn't seem like he's slowing him down too much because he's got a gap between them, but folks, the fact is it's dirty air that's really been slowing down the 43 and allowing Takis to stay within a second and a half of him. Because despite him being further up, the dirty air is still around him due to the fact that there's a car in front of him and that there's nothing.
Well, it's dirty air as well as the lap machine. And right now, Gossett has been having horrible luck with lap cars since he's been running in the Chris Cup. So Gossett's trying to just, he's in the lead, feels comfortable, has a comfortable enough lead that he doesn't have to pass Reese. And I think he'll start worrying once we start to see Takis maybe less than a second away.
Wow, Gossett got a little bit loose there off a corner exit, so that's going to cost him a little bit of time. I don't know how well Takis got off the corner. The gap now will extend to 2 seconds now between the 43 and the 46. We're inside 60 laps to go here tonight at Rockingham. Tommy Gossett, he's been the class of the field. He is sitting in the catbird seat to pick up a win tonight. We'll step aside, side by side. You won't miss a thing here on Flatout Racing Network's coverage of the cNASCAR Chris Cup Series presented by SimNut Racing Sims. Pit stops underway here for the 46 of Christopher Takis as we're back here on FRN's coverage of the Chris Cup Series as he is back out onto the racing surface, 1 lap down in the 5th spot. He caught the apron and was loose, but he saved it. Still sideways.
He's still losing it.
Oh my, wow, what a save out of the 46.
And just like that, he's back up, and I'm just happy he's on track now because I think everyone on track, I mean, Otto even said it over the chat. I know you guys didn't hear it, but he said his heart sank when he saw the 46 just get loose in front of him.
He's maintaining the speed now. They cleared the 37 lap car. Now he'll go by Otto. Definitely, that's a good way of showing the discrepancy. Wow, that was close. That was close between the 46 and 88 there. Not sure what happened there, but that just shows you the speed between the two drivers. As look at that gap he just puts on the 88 as he drives away.
But here's the thing. He's still 1 lap down. And he's still 1 lap down. It has to run all the way around to get that position. So still running 5th is Takis, the only car that is 1 lap down at the moment.
Well, the thing is, as Chris Otto now comes into the pits.
Never mind. It's that time. These drivers, when that last caution came out, it was right around 10 laps that they were going to be short for fuel. So I'm not surprised with the short pitting, but you know with Takis coming in, it forces the hands on everyone else to come in.
Well, now here's the thing to look at as well. If this race goes green all the way to the end, Takis pit with about 45 laps on his tires. We're at 50 laps to go right now. He has run 4 laps on those new tires that he has. It's going to be pretty close, especially if we get into a green-white checker situation.
Bass coming into the pits, now leaving our front 2 of Chris Gossett, as well as Chris James, who are the front 2 that have not pitted yet, been out there on their tires for 51 to 52 laps.
I want to point something out about Takis, though. This is a really short track, and the pit road speed is, I believe, 50 miles an hour, 45 miles an hour even. So, and cars on the racetrack are running about 145, 150 at its peak. So the 46, when those leaders pit, as James is now in the pits as well, it won't take awfully long for the 29 to run down the 43, as everybody is off the lead lap except for our race leader.
Race leader going to be Chris Gossett, who's been the class act ever since he got the lead. And drivers are excited to see how this thing's going to end up, because the longer Gossett's out there, that last lap compared to his best lap is over 2 seconds. He's losing time on Takis, but Takis, by the time that he finally, per se, gains up all this time to try to be in front of the 43 is going to have better tires and will run down Takis himself.
Takis would just have to hope as the 43 now makes his way into the pits. This is what we're going to watch for here. The 43 is in now. The 46 is going to pass him there, right at the start-finish line. So now the 46, we'll see when the 43 pulls in, where the 46 is on the racetrack to see how it happens. Pit road speed, 45 miles an hour for the 43, still not to his stall, as Takis is now heading towards the front straightaway as the 43 slides in there. Slides in well as the 46.
I think it's going to be about 10 to 12 second gap that I think Takis could be having here. Coming across, he's now got the lead. Takis short pitting by 10 laps compared to Gossett. Is this the winning move if we stay green? Because, I mean, that is a huge gap to have. And that's a lot of time that this 43 machine has to gain up on Takis.
He's got about a half a racetrack on the 46. The gap is 10 seconds. No one else passed him. So the 43 will be in second. 5 seconds on Chris James, 6 on Chris Bass.
Oh, Gossett!
43 got loose, almost a carbon copy of what happened with the 46.
Here's the thing. Takis could have had such a bigger lead if he wasn't drifting, trying to get back onto the track. So only 10 seconds to work with. Now we'll have to wait and see. Coming across the line now, Gossett is going to be running only 0.3 faster.
So if you do the math, about 44 laps to go. He's picking up maybe 0.3 a second. That should be enough to catch Takis. That should be. I say that lightly. Because Takis that time by ran a 24.87. This time by Chris Gossett ran a 23.14. That's a full second and a half quicker than the 46.
And here's the thing.
He's coming.
The 46 is in trouble because he's around a ton of traffic. So is Gossett, but Gossett just got by all the traffic that he needed to get by. Clean air for at least 5 seconds or so before he gets up to Jones. So I am nervous for Takis as he is surrounded by lap traffic, and they are on much fresher tires than the 46 machine.
So he needs to pick through these guys quickly if he wants to maintain any sort of gap on the 43. He hits the line. 41 laps to go here tonight at the Rockingham Speedway. It has been an incredible race. Chris Tommy Gossett has got it down to 5 seconds. He is coming in a hurry.
And looking at these drivers, I believe they possibly have used up all of their tires. It could be, I believe, though, that they have used all their tires up.
The thing that Takis would need to hope for is that Gossett uses enough of his stuff to where they're almost on a near level playing field. But for that to happen, he would need to be at least 30 laps into his run, and Gossett needs to be 20 laps into his run. But I think Gossett's going to catch him before that threshold.
Oh, yeah. It's been 6, now almost 7 laps on these tires, and he's already gained 6 seconds on the 46 machine. It's not even close. Running a full second faster than Takis. He's getting by Meza. Gonna do that cleanly. He's just got to get by Reese. And then it's all clean air to the 46 machine for Gossett. And Gossett, I mean, if we go green the rest of the way, this is the 43's race.
Gap now to 3 seconds now. The 43 just so fast. Now inside 3 seconds as we're on lap. We got 38 laps to go this evening. To give you a recap, we've had 4 cautions tonight. Should have been 5, but we'll leave that to the iRacing officials to handle that. But 4 cautions. We've had a green flag pit stop. We had pretty much just about everything tonight, Sam.
Oh, yeah, it's been drama-filled all race long. We've had multiple playoff contenders having issues here, running back in 12th and 13th. And those drivers have been at it all race long. We've got ourselves Takis, who's last in the top 8 of points, needing a win and try to get as many points as possible for this 46 to set himself up for Indy next week and a chance for the Final 4 in 2 weeks. So Takis is in trouble. And then you got 2 racers that are running up front of Gossett and James, both very quick and coming fast, as under a second is Gossett.
Gossett clears the 01, so now it's between the 46 and the 01. Will the 46 try to mirror drive or just let him go, knowing that Gossett has got the better car over a full second quicker, as the battle will now heat up as they head to the back?
I was kind of getting nervous there for a second. Noblet was running high, getting close to the wall as Bass was coming up. But really, Gossett is screaming quick with those 10-lap fresher, I should say, tires compared to the 46 machine. That just shows the strength of having better tires under you and fresher ones compared to the rest of the field.
But the 46 did a really good job there of just good defense of the 43. That slowed down the 43 to run his speed. He'll try the high side, though, is the 43 of Chris Tommy Gossett. I don't know if that was a wise move. He'll try the crossover.
He's got the space, he's got the room, but here comes the 46 defending it. But with too much speed, here comes Gossett on the inside.
Gossett takes the lead back with 33 laps to go. Here comes Takis back to the inside. The
3 wide.
The 98 is a pick, but the 43 did a good job of getting around the 98, but they'll be side by side down the front.
Takis is in the most preferred line on the inside. Gossett's going to figure out how to do a crossover move here coming out of turn number 2. He's going to see the 46 tripped up. He's going to move him. Is it enough? Here he comes on the inside. Gossett, Takis in the wall.
That'll be it. Wreck behind them.
Caution. It's Lawrence as well as Roberge. Both playoff contenders that were looking for good days. Contact in massive chances of Gossett probably running away from this race. We're going to reset it.
Just as the 46 hit the wall, trying to hold off the 43, I saw in the corner of my screen the 01 and the 98 collide to bring out our 5th caution of the night here at the Rockingham Speedway. Wow, what just a chain of events in the last 5 laps.
I mean, Roberge had probably one of the wildest seats to be in, as he was 3 wide with our leaders. then had this contact that heavily damaged himself, who was already damaged 4 laps down. Now this is going to be leaving us with 5 cars on the lead lap. Also, I believe drivers do have tires left.
The 01 got the outside wall and just nowhere for the 98 to go. Second of accident the 98 has been in tonight. This one, a caution-inducing one. But oh my goodness, a tough break for 2 playoff contenders, the 01 of Lawrence and the 98 of Robert. So we'll see how it shakes out for them. Lawrence is 6th, a lap down. Robert's 8th right now, 4 laps down, along with Noblet in 9th. So that'll be interesting to watch. Some developments happening at the front. Chris James has stayed out.
Going to be on 19 old tires compared to the rest of the field. So we'll see how that affects the 29 machine. But 4 tires for the 43, as well as the 97. As it looks like Takis.
46 off.
Yeah, Takis is still on pit road getting repairs done. As we saw, after the hard charge and trying to keep first place, heavy contact to that outside wall for the 46. That's the second time we've seen the 46 have damage of some sorts. Could this be the costing the 46 the rest of a possible win here? Or could we be seeing another caution because looking at the fact that we're at a short track, tempers have been flaring for some of these drivers. I wouldn't be surprised to see another caution out here before this thing's done.
It wouldn't stun me because, watching old races at the Rock, whenever the real-life NASCAR Cup Series guys at the time, the Winston Cup Series would run here, it was always caution-filled. The fact that we've only had 5 cautions tonight is due to the fact of a small field, but with how well these guys have been racing as well. So it's a testament to these Chris Cup Series drivers, arguably one of the best drivers I've seen covering races for the Flatout Racing Network, and we're going to see it in full force as we get down to the nitty-gritty of this one. We're inside 30 to go, Sam. Oh boy, this is crunch time for everybody, and I'm especially the fact that everyone behind Chris James is on fresh 4s.
Yeah, it's going to be really rough for this 29 machine that's banking on us to go green for possibly 15 laps or so, and then a caution come out, and James would be out there. But I've seen James come in for 5 laps here. I think he might be out of tires. Everyone else, this was their last set to be used. So looking around, these drivers are hoping for this thing to go green.
Yeah, they don't want another caution because a majority of them, everybody is at 4 stops or higher. So you have to think that everybody has used all 4 sets of their tires. I'm looking at the guys who have pit 4 times. That's 43, the 97, and the 46, and the 01. If they have all used them, because, there's the potential that they have gone down and used 3 sets of tires and had 1 pit stop where they just maybe went fuel only.
Well, we're still going to have another pace lap to be ensued here, but just looking at your playoff points and the implications that we've had with these last cars and all the contact that's been going down. We're going to start at the bottom of the list here in 13th position. Leach looking for a good day here today, and he missed out, so not battling for the points. But in 12th place, that's where we see Reese, which Reese was 3rd in points, but just barely by a total of 16 points, with him being so far back, and Jones actually running in 6th after all of the chaos he's been involved in. Looking like we'll be seeing Reese outside of the top 5 in points.
And he would need a major, if not a win, a top 3 next week at Indianapolis. That's where we'll be out in Speedway, Indiana. Hopefully I have Logan Brakey back on the call with us here. I'll be back next week for that one. Our last race before we head to the championship race at Phoenix. Speedway at Phoenix, that's the site for the finale. It's going to set up something big. Still got a race to figure out our top 4. We still got to figure out who's going to win here tonight in this first race of the second round of the Chris Cup Series playoffs. Chris James and Chris Tommy Gossett, a pair of drivers not even running for the title. They're just running for bragging rights tonight. Pace car will make the hard left-hand turn one more time. Hopefully, we'll go green with 26 laps to go here tonight at the Rock. Chris James needs a good restart here, and he will sort of get it. No, he won't. He'll block the 43 up the racetrack. That's going to open the door for the 97 of Chris Bass to take the lead.
Chris Bass has been running around third or worse all race long, now up front leading the point, but he's got a hungry driver behind him in Gossett as well as Takis.
Takis moves back into third now, has his size set on the 2 leaders. The 43 gonna try and get a run down the front straightaway here to try and catch the 97. The 97 trying to just pad the points and set himself up for a spot in the top 4.
Bass right now in the top 4 points, leading the way. I mean, he's got the most points coming into this race, and honestly, a top 3 finish would probably point his way into the top 4. Bass has been consistent ever since Texas and getting that win there. Bass has just been a new driver and just invigorated with being up front and trying to get more and more wins. Could he tack another one for him here today as he's running up front trying to hold up the hungry 43 of Gossett?
Gossett tries the inside line there, ran a half groove lower than the 97, trying to get that run off of turn 4, but I've noticed that Gossett's not able to hold it down the front straightaway. He'll slide back in line, and the 97 will hold service for the time being. You talked about the Texas race, Sam. Who was the guy that got wrecked on the final lap of that one? That's Chris Takis. That's in third right now, but he's trying to run down in hopes that the 97 and 43 get side by side, which they are.
Yeah, right now is around the time I was about to say that Bass's tires start to just fade from him, and he's not able to run that inside line. It just drifts him up close to the wall. So this might be the time we're starting to see Bass drifting on back, and this is when Takis has to attack. Get by Bass as quick as possible so you can stay to Gossett and possibly make a pass on him before your tires start to fade away about 20 laps into a run.
With 21 laps to go, give a call to the 88 of Chris Otto, a second back, currently in 4th, trying to just get a top 5 out of this one. So a great run for the 88, who had been back in the back of the pack for a good chunk of this race.
Yeah, and really is feeling comfortable. Only 5 cars on the lead lap, and Chris James came into that last restart on very old tires compared to the rest of the field. So it kind of gifted a 4th place finish for Chris Otto that was needing a solid finish here today. As looking at the points, I mean, Otto just outside right now, running what would be 6th in points, about 22 points back.
So a 4th place run would definitely benefit that 88 here tonight, as the gap opens to 3/10 between Gossett and Bass. The tires starting to fall off for the 97. Takis has not really been able to attack, so that really sets Tommy Gossett up very well, and lap traffic's not really going to be a factor. The 33 is a full straightaway away, and we have 19 to go here tonight at the Rock.
Yeah, the only driver that could possibly be a factor here for this race would be the 33 of James, but I mean, not James, but of Jones, excuse me, the 33 of Christopher Jones running 6th, 2 laps down. It's the only driver I could really think that could possibly be a factor here as we're running and ticking these laps away. Gossett's feeling great in that 43.
Had some drama towards the end of the regular season, one of his first races that he ran here in the Chris Cup, where he didn't win. Chris Tate ended up winning that race. Chris Tate not a factor anymore because he is withdrawn from the series for the remainder of the season. So Chris Tommy Gossett, this is a guy you're going to want to watch for in Season 2 to really be what Chris Tate was this season. A dominant force, winning a crap ton of races throughout the year, and he is showing it with his speed here tonight at the Rock.
Yeah, and it's really a testament of that speed, the talent, and it's been great to see more drivers joining into this league. It might be later on and not for a championship fight, but still great racing to be at and seen here for the later half of the season.
Gap now to about half a second between the 97 and the 43. Starting to run up on that 33 of Chris Jones. They're running up a little bit quicker than I thought. So that bigger pack of lap traffic maybe end up being a factor within the next 5 laps, but it wouldn't matter if the gap between the 97 and the 46 continues to grow as the 43 drives away.
I mean, you would think maybe they would become a factor, but if they are, it's going to be on like the last 2 to 3 laps. But besides that, looking pretty clean for our drivers up front as Bass making another mistake. That 97 machine drifting up and losing time, giving space to Takis.
97 now settles trying to settle back in, but the 46 is there. Expect the 46 to make the pass here on the front stretch, and he'll finally be able to clear the 97 as the leader clears the 33. So they were both passing at the same time, so the telemetry should stay the same, about 8/10. As the 33, he'll get out of the way and give way to the 46 and 97 now. The 46 has got the gap at nearly a second. That's what he's got to do to try and run down the 43. That 43 is just so strong, and time is ticking away.
It really is, and we're getting about 2 laps away from when we'll start seeing Takis' tires usually drop off. And at this point, I think it's been gift wrapped unless we see a caution come out for this 43 machine.
Gap now over a full second for the 43. He is sitting pretty to pick up a victory here tonight at Rockingham Speedway. Chris Otto still back there in 4th. Chris James, a good run tonight. 5th place, not running for a title. Hits the apron there a little bit. He's on old tires. I think he's just going to ride it out at this point because there's no chance for him to lose any spots. He won't gain anything, but he won't lose anything. So he'll finish more than likely in that 5th position.
Some other battles are going on track, not for position, but just trying to get by more machines. It's Chris Roberge and the 8 trying to figure out how to get by Reese and 62. Both of those drivers have had very heavily damaged machines, but are still just chugging along, as we've only really had one driver that I would say, maybe 2, that have confirmed out of this race and no longer running. That'd be the 7 and the 48.
7 still out on the racetrack, just came out of the pits, so that's going to move Christopher Reese up another spot after the troubles he's had tonight. So that is it'll benefit him for the points wise. So we'll see how it pans out the rest of the way for him, especially when we head to the Brickyard next week. I don't know. We'll see if he's a factor. Christopher Lawrence, a rough night. He's 10th. And Chris Roberge, he's 8th, so he still is hanging well. Getting called, though, also to the 17 of Chris Noblet. He's been up and down through the field tonight, and he is sitting good right now to pick up a nice top 10 finish.
Yeah, Noblet been able to recover after the early instances that we saw. And, not a bad day for Noblet, who's right now 4th in points and really was looking to get at least a top 10 finish here, and will do so. And drivers that were looking to possibly knock him out if he had a more of a rough day for the 17 really are now banking on him having a worse running next week at Indy.
Chris Tomigase crosses the line. 6 laps to go, starting to catch some lap traffic here, but the good thing for him is the 37 and the 29, they spread out a bit. I was going to be worried if the pack was a bit more together as it was at the restart, but they spread out, and that's going to allow the 43 to pass lap cars with ease, and he is, I can't say enough, he is on cruise control at this point.
Yeah, and it really just shows the speed and the talent the 43 has, as well as just the control to save tires compared to the rest of the field. The tire control of just entering and letting your car cruise and being able to really decide, hey, maybe I need to run the middle lane a little bit more than really cranking my tires to make that inside lane work. And those little minute things can really help a driver out on saving their tires and be this dominant in a field.
4 laps to go now. Chris Takis, he's settled into 2nd. That's where he'll finish out tonight. Chris Bass and Chris Otto, that might be a battle here in just a little bit, because Chris Otto is catching that 97. That'll be something to watch here when they get to the white flag lap, whether the 88 or the 97 is going to be fighting for an interview spot tonight. As we got 3 laps to go. Chris Tomigase in cruise control. He is sitting pretty for, I believe, would be his 2nd or 3rd win here in this season of the Chris Cup Series.
And it's looking pretty good for that 43 machine. And just looking at that battle that's going on, I mean, Otto trying to make this more of a challenge. And honestly, the more this goes on, the more I believe Chris Otto's going to get by Bass. It's just that Rockingham has not been a nice place for this 97 of Bass. It's been good for the first about 5 laps of a run, and then his car just drifts off, and I don't know what the main issue is for this 97, but the consistency just has not been here, and that's what could possibly cost him here up front.
White flag in the air, 1 lap to go as the 43 comes down, and he will head through 3 and 4, dealing with lap traffic, but the 46 is nowhere to be found as the Chris Tommy Gossett machine. He is going to come down and pick up a win here tonight at the Rockingham Speedway. And down the stretch, something happened to Chris Otto, and he fell off of the 97, so he'll finish out in 4th, Takis 2nd, and Chris Bass 3rd.
Yeah, I went back to rewatch what exactly happened, and it was just a great block by the 97. And, a little bit of contact made between the 88 and the 97, and the 88 got up the worst of it.
But regardless, Chris Tommy Gossett dominates the majority of the race tonight, leading a good amount of the laps tonight. And that it was enough for him to pick up his 2nd or 3rd win of the season. What a run for that 43 machine, that ST Chris machine. Chris Tommy Gossett, just really not much else you can say. Just a dominant performance tonight at Rockingham.
Dominant, and Takis had some opportunities, Bass as well there at the end, but it really was the fact that Gossett was able to save those tires a little bit better than everyone else, and for him just to pull away from the rest of the crew.
He now does a patented Polish victory lap made famous by Davey Allison so many years ago, and then carried on through real-life racing and in sim racing as the 43 will celebrate this win tonight at the Rock, a dominant win again. 2nd place again for Christopher Takis. Good run for him. Definitely a good points night. Came into the race tonight 8th in the playoff race, and this is going to be a big push for him. And with the troubles of a lot of other drivers tonight, he could be really, set up for a top 4 spot with a good run at Indianapolis next week.
Yeah, with Reese and Lawrence's troubles, as well as Robert finishing back in 8th place, it's kind of set up Takis, as well as Otto and Jones, all feeling a lot more comfortable in their points run. And with Chris Bass finishing in 3rd, I mean, he is feeling so comfortable points-wise. He has such a massive lead on everyone else.
The 43 will bring it down into the quasi-victory lane. Welcome to the post-race section here of this coverage tonight of the cNASCAR Chris Cup Series presented by SimNut Racing Sims. You'll get ready to hear from Christopher Takis, Chris Tommy Gossett, and the 97 of Chris Bass on the other side of this break one more time. And you'll hear from them momentarily as we go side by side one more time. Welcome back here to Rockingham Speedway. An incredible run tonight as there is your finishing results. Chris Tommy Gossett picking up the win tonight. Takis 2nd and Chris Bass 3rd. Let's go ahead and hear from our 3rd place finisher, Chris Bass. Chris Bass, this is Carlos Zimmerman in the Flatout Racing Network booth. You got me?
I got you.
Man, you had quite the interesting night tonight. You were leading under that last restart, but one thing me and Sam both noticed is you had you ran really good for about 5 laps, but then the car just fell away from you. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, this place is treacherous. I knew this place eat tires for breakfast, but I didn't realize exactly how bad. I mean, it was a handful from 5 laps all the way to you just prayed for a caution just to get new tires. I mean, it was a brutal, brutal race.
No, we saw it throughout that one. Now, I do want to get to the thing here that happened right on the last lap. Really a big major league block on Chris Otto. Give me your thoughts on that one, as that was really the difference between you finishing third or fourth tonight.
Yeah, me and Otto are really good friends, and I just had to protect. It's the playoffs, and I told him after the race he deserved to finish third. I burned my stuff up way too early, trying to at least try to keep up with Gossett, but that wasn't going to happen. So we talked afterwards, and then everything's all good. And I apologized to him. It was my fault, and it was a block, and that's all I could really say about it. I just had to protect my place.
I mean, I can't say I blame you for just trying to protect where you were at. And speaking of points, you came in as the points leader. And this third place run for you tonight definitely going to pad you, and it could potentially set you up to where you may be locked into the top 4, and we're not even in Indy yet.
That was the mindset. Race the green spoilers. Takis was in a zip code of his own. So I mean, I really couldn't do anything with him either. But yeah, it's all about points right now, and we're going to Indy, and hopefully we'll have a pretty good buffer if something crazy happens. So we're looking forward to it.
And I'll have one more question for you before we let you do your shout outs. Indy, next week, it's a whole different animal than what we have had so far. You had Chicagoland, which is a mile and a half, Homestead, a mile and a half, this one a little bit over a mile. Now you go to the big racetrack, the block, I call it, of the Brickyard. What's going to be your mindset being the points leader?
Oh, it's about the same every week. You just have to do what you can to get the max points, race the green spoilers, and just come home. It's just about as good as you can possibly get. That's about all you can do. It's a very aero sensitive racetrack, so any mistake and you're costing yourself a lot of points, a lot of valuable points. So my mindset will basically just be to survive it, come out the best I can, and we'll go to Phoenix.
Alrighty, before I let you go this evening, Chris, you want to give any shout outs to anybody?
Yeah, the guys on the car, V1 Rotate Simulation Technologies, Red Eye Designs for their paint schemes and everything they do for me. SimNut Racing Sims for their contributions to everything in this league and series, and friends and family for all their support, and you guys for the broadcast.
Alrighty, that was your third place finisher, the 97 of Chris Bass, sitting pretty to be at Phoenix. We'll see what he does next week at Indy. Best of luck to you, and we'll hopefully get to talk to you next week.
Hope so, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, we'll now bring in our second place finisher, Christopher Takis. Christopher Takis, this is Carlos Zimmerman in the FRN booth. You got me?
Copy.
Man, you had quite an up and down race, from that little bit of early trouble with the 7 to just trying to do what you can to keep up with Chris Tommy Gossett. Just unpack this race for me.
Yeah, I felt like I knew coming in I was fast just from the practice races we had ran, and actually the first time it's ever happened, something was up with my computer because I was glitching a lot the whole race. I kept asking everyone, "Am I glitching out or blinking?" And they said no, but it was just a handful for me to drive just because it was so choppy. And I don't know if it was something with the computer trying to do an update in the background or what, but no, Tommy's definitely fast, and it was fun battling up front there with him. I really wish that last caution didn't come out because it would have. I think I was getting ready to pit, and I'm not sure if he was going to pit when I pit, but I hate it when a caution comes out at the end because when everyone's got a set of tires left, it's just basically you're restarting from scrap, and it's anyone's race that's on the lead lap, really.
Now, I do want you to give me some insight to what happened when you were trying to hold off the 43 after that round of green flag pit stops. Did a really good job holding him off once he got to you, but I guess he just had the quicker car there, being with the discrepancy between you guys in terms of tires.
Yeah, because I think I pit about 10, 15 laps earlier than he did, just because I was trying to split the amount of laps that were left, and he dragged it out, maybe hoping for a caution or something like that. Did the best I could to hold him off, and then I just made a little mistake and came into the one corner a little hot, and pushed up and left him a hole to fill.
I mean, it was a lot of fun to watch. Really, you two battle it out for the majority of the night. I know he had the better car at the end of the day, but nothing to be ashamed about. Second place for you. Now, you came into this race tonight at the bottom of the playoff grid, 8th. Where does this put you now as we head to Indy?
Well, the mindset doesn't change. I got to finish as best as I can based off on all these other playoff cars in Indy, just to try to get into that top 4. I missed the first playoff race because I had other events to attend to, so I couldn't make that. But I'm doing the best I can to get up. I mean, I just made it in the top 8 by 3 points, so here I am.
Alrighty, that was your second place finisher, Christopher Takis. Real quick before I forget, anybody want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Tax Motorsports and Tac Photo. They did a hell of a job on the wrap on the car and making sure it's all spick and span. Ryden's Gas for supplying us our race fuel. Performance Whole Battle Marine. Chris Jones for putting on this league. We're working really hard to try to grow it and get a lot more entries. I know it was a little down on entries tonight. I don't know if it just playoffs kind of scared people away, but everyone's still welcome to run with us. I'd also like to thank SimNut Racing Sims. They stepped up and they're one of the title sponsors now of the league, so that's really good. You guys at FRN and just everyone else that shows up to race, because without everyone showing up, it wouldn't really be a fun race.
Alrighty, once again, that was your second place finisher tonight, Christopher Takis. Best of luck to you at Indianapolis. Hopefully, we will see you in the top 4 for Phoenix.
Thank you.
All right, we'll bring in our race winner, Chris Tommy Gossett. Chris Tommy Gossett, this is Carlos Zimmerman in the FRN booth. You got me?
Yes, sir, I do.
Man, you must be riding Cloud 9 right now. I don't know if this was your second or third win of the season, but man, what a way to get it. Just a dominant performance all night long. Had a little bit of scare there at the beginning, but you bounced back. So did the 46, and it ended up being you on top tonight.
I was absolutely terrified when the 2 back-to-back laps, I think I got into the 17. He bounced off the wall and hit me on my right rear. I gathered it back up, and then the 7 bounced off the wall, and I couldn't slow down in time and just barely got into his rear bumper. But if it was going to happen, I'm glad it happened there, slowest part of the track, and you're easily able to brake, and it didn't give me any engine damage or hurt my aero too bad. So I got off lucky.
I mean, there's not much really I can say. You just you drove the wheels off that car. Now, I did mention this with the 46. You two, whenever you were catching him under that last time we had green flag pit stops, when you were just hard charging to catch him, I noticed how you were running so well, but once you got to him, it really slowed you down until you got around him. Give me your thoughts on that battle you had with Christopher Takis.
Well, the strategy after, I don't know, 10 or 15 laps was to shift. And I was right there on that window where if I shift, I'm going to get loose on entry. So I stay in 4th and he beats me on exit. And I was just running behind him until my tires hit that place where I could shift. And he was just slowing me down so much on entry middle that he was really beating me off. So I just had to wait for my tires to come into that place where I could shift. And then I went around him on the outside 3 wide with a 98. I believe it was a lap down at the time.
Yeah, no, it was a wild one to say the least. That little battling you had there, but then after that, you just you took control. The 97 led on that last restart, but it didn't take long for you to just run him down and get around him, and that was all she wrote really, and that was the tail of the tape on your race tonight. Now, I know you're not a playoff contender, so I didn't have to ask you anything about playoffs, but final 2 races of the year, do we expect to see you try and run out there for another pair of victories?
1 word, 3 letters, win. I'm here to win both of them.
Alrighty. Before I let you go this evening, Chris Tommy Gossett, anybody you want to give a shout out to for your win tonight?
First off, I gotta thank God for all He does for me. Without Him, I wouldn't be here in this position to be able to do it. I gotta thank y'all for a wonderful broadcast. I gotta thank Jones for putting on this league. It's so much fun. And then I gotta thank SimNut Racing Sims for coming on board. And then I have to personally, I have to thank my actual team of Lowline Racing. Everybody over there, Garrett, David, they really helped me mature and come along and learn as a racer. Same goes for everybody else there. And surprisingly, I don't have any other sponsors of my own to thank right now. Again, if I forgot to mention, thank y'all for the wonderful broadcast. Love to go back and listen to them.
Alrighty, that was your race winner, Chris Tommy Gosson. An excellent run for you tonight. Best of luck to you at Indy. If you pick up the win, we'll talk to you then.
Hopefully you will be. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. And as we approach the 9 o'clock hour on the East Coast, 8 o'clock hour here in the Central Time Zone, it was an incredible race tonight. Sam, give me your final thoughts if you're there.
I'm back. Sorry. It was a good race overall for these guys. Yes, there were some times where we got to see some green flag pit stops, which we were excited to see. How would those pit stops affect drivers? And with Takis coming in early, I think that was the big shift of possibly him having his chance to get the win. But Gassa was just so dominant here today, and I'm excited to see what points are going to be like going into next week and who has a chance to is already locked in and who is right on the cusp of being knocked in or knocked out of the top four.
Well, for one, Chris Bass, he's looking pretty good to be locked in for a top 4 spot with his third place run tonight. You know, Christopher Takis may have been able to get a rebound. Some other guys too. Chris Jones, he's might be on the cusp next week of being in and has the risk of losing that 4th spot. So something we'll have to watch for next week at Indianapolis. Same time, same great channel. 7 o'clock on the East Coast, where we will take the green flag at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in Speedway, Indiana. Sam, thanks for hopping on tonight. I know typically you're with the Soda guys on these nights, but filling in for Logan tonight, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a blast. I mean, I've been coming in and watching the Chris Cup every once in a while when you haven't been able to be here. But it's always fun to watch these Chris Cup drivers. They make it a fun show to watch week in and week out. And I'm excited to see how the rest of the season goes. And thanks for allowing me to be in the booth.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Again, next week, we'll be at Indianapolis for the 4th race of the playoffs in the cNASCAR Chris Cup Series presented by SimNut Racing Sims. It was, we're glad to have them on board as a title sponsor, and we'll be, hopefully they'll stick with them as they head towards season 2 in the Chris Cup. I'm going to be back tomorrow with Warren Keith for the kickoff for the Kicking Asphalt Racing Series TechHub.tv Cup Series. I believe we're going to be at Daytona, so that should be a fun one. Again, myself and Warren Keith will be on the call for that one, 7 o'clock Eastern Time on the Flatout Racing Network channel. Speaking of Daytona, folks, if you want more racing action, they're currently only a quarter of the way through of the Soda Guys Cup Series. Race 25 to 35 in the year. They're at Daytona. Seth Cole and Warren Keith, they're bringing it to you over there in Daytona Beach, Florida. So if you want more racing action, go check them out right now. For Sam Dyer, my name's Carlos Zimmerman. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Once again, your winner here tonight at Rockingham, Chris Tommy Gossett, an absolute incredible run. We'll see you next time here on the Flatout Racing Network. Y'all have a good night, and we will see you in Indianapolis. Good night from Rockingham, North Carolina.